Hey everyone, welcome back. So, as someone who is constantly looking for fun ways to level up my E3 level English, I actually just revisited an absolute classic, Aesop's fable of the North Wind and the Sun, and I thought, why not share this animated explainer with all of you? It's not just a great story, it's honestly a fantastic way for us to practice reading and speaking together as study buddies. Let's get into it.
Okay, let's dive into our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the great element debate, followed by the furious north wind, and then the gentle warm sun. After that, we'll jump into some role-play Q&A, review our level up vocab and quotes, and finally wrap up with the story's true moral.
Part 1. The Great Element Debate. Let's set the scene.
You know, every great story needs a conflict, right? Well, ours features two incredibly competitive forces of nature. They are both absolutely convinced that they're the strongest. The north wind, he relies entirely on brute force. But the sun, he's all about gentle persuasion. So, to settle this massive argument over who's actually the strongest, they spot a passing traveler walking down a road, and they make a bet. The rules are simple. Whichever of them can compel this traveler to take off his heavy cloak is the winner.
Now, before we see who wins this thing, let's pause and highlight our first key verb phrase from the text. The story says the wind and the sun fell into a dispute. To fall into a dispute literally just means to enter into an argument or a fierce disagreement. It's such a beautifully descriptive way to say they started fighting. You can totally use this in your own English conversations the next time you need to describe two people who suddenly start arguing.
And here's another excellent phrase. The text describes our poor traveler as being wrapped snugly in a warm cloak. If you're wrapped snugly in something, it means you're warmly, comfortably, and tightly covered by it. I mean, it paints a perfect picture of exactly how protected this guy felt against the cold weather. He wasn't just wearing a coat, he was securely bundled up.
Part 2. The Furious North Wind. Let's see what happens when you use pure power.
Okay, I want you to imagine the coldest, angriest, howling winter storm ever. The wind decides the absolute best way to win is to rip that cloak right off the guy's back using pure, unstoppable power. The story says he blew with all his fury, cold and relentless, but the harder he raged, the more tightly the traveler clutched his cloak about him. And this brilliantly illustrates why brute force completely failed. The wind's aggressive strategy totally backfired. The colder and harder he blew, the more the traveler just hugged that cloak to survive. Let's spotlight a key verb phrase here, with all his fury. This is an amazing phrase to describe someone acting with intense, totally uncontrollable anger. The wind didn't just blow, he blew with all his fury. Using a powerful noun like fury, instead of just saying he was very angry, really adds that dramatic flair to your English storytelling. Of course, even the mighty north wind has his limits. After blowing until he was literally exhausted, he realized that Cloak wasn't going anywhere. So he had to admit defeat. This is a crucial conversational phrase to know. To admit defeat means to accept that you've lost and just stop trying. It's a really natural, mature way to talk about giving up in English.
Part 3. The Gentle Warm Sun. Time for a completely different approach.
So, since the wind's whole force strategy completely flopped, the sun steps up and tries the exact opposite. The text tells us he shone down gently, spreading a mild and pleasant warmth over the traveler. Before long, overcome by the heat, the man loosened his cloak and cast it off entirely. Notice the sequence of events here. The sun starts gently.
He spreads a pleasant warmth. He doesn't attack the guy. Instead, he just changes the environment so the traveler actually chooses to take off the cloak himself.
The key action here is our next excellent verb phrase, cast off. The traveler didn't just take his cloak off, he cast it off entirely. To cast off means to throw off or remove something completely, usually with a big sigh of relief. Highlighting this phrase really captures that dramatic moment when the traveler finally gets rid of that heavy, sweaty layer.
Part 4. Role-play Q&A time. Let's jump into some rule of 3 practice. All right, it is your turn. We're going to break the fourth wall and use the rule of 3. I'll give you 3 prompts, and I want you to answer out loud using the vocab we just learned. Let's see what stuck. First, I want you to imagine you are the grumpy north wind. Ready? North wind, why did you lose the contest? Go ahead, say your answer out loud.
How'd you do?
A stellar E3 level answer would be something like, because I used force, making the traveler clutch his cloak tighter. If you managed to use the words force or clutch, you did a fantastic job. It shows you really grasped why the win strategy completely backfired. Okay, let's jump to our second role play. Switch perspectives for me. Now you are the tired, sweaty traveler walking down that road. Traveler, tell me, why did you cast off your cloak? Say it out loud right now.
Let's check that against our suggested answer. I was overcome by the gentle heat of the sun. I really want to point out the fantastic use of the phrase overcome by here. If you used overcome by or mentioned the gentle heat, you are absolutely nailing the speaking practice. Seriously, well done.
All right, final challenge. Time to embody the wise, victorious, and gentle sun. Sun, I gotta ask, what is your secret weapon for winning this contest? Tell us your secret.
And the perfect response? My secret weapons are gentleness and mild warmth. By using the noun gentleness, you're showing real mastery of today's core themes. Take a second to celebrate that. You did some fantastic conversational practice today.
Part 5. Level up vocab and quotes. Let's review those key terms. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is we've mapped out our top 6 vocabulary words from the story. We've got cloak, compel, relentless, rage, gentleness, and persuasion. Go ahead and grab a quick screenshot of these linguistic cheat codes right now. Seriously, having this saved on your phone is the absolute perfect way to review and keep practicing later today.
Part 6. The story's true moral. The core message of it all. So, the crucial point is, what was Aesop really trying to teach us here? We've learned the vocab, we've practiced the grammar, we've even spoken the parts out loud. The golden quote of this fable is just so beautiful. Gentleness and persuasion accomplish what force cannot. Let that powerful, simple message sink in. It's an advanced English sentence structure contrasting 2 methods, gentleness and persuasion on one side and force on the other. It's a brilliant rule for the English language and, honestly, for life.
To wrap up, I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. How can you use persuasion instead of force in your own daily life? Think about your arguments, your negotiations, or even just how you ask someone for a favor. I highly encourage you to practice your written English right now by dropping your answer in the comments below. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I'll see you in our next explainer.